Hello my dear students, welcome to CMI's online classes. In today's class for the students of Standard 9, we'll study the new chapter from our English literature book Beehive. That is chapter 6, and from chapter 6 we are going to start the poetry section in which we have the poem No Men Are Foreign, and the poem is written by James Kirkup. So the poem No Men Are Foreign by James Kirkup is about the views of the poet, which says that all men are same and equal. He wants to promote the concept of universal brotherhood. The title No Men Are Foreign means that no men belong to another country. The poet wants to say that all men are equal. In this poem, the poet wants to tell us that everyone in the world is same. They eat, live and die the same way. Everyone gets the bounties of nature like sunshine, land, etc. in equal measure. We can also say that it is a peace poem. So now we will see the poem. We will read the poem stanza wise, and after reading each stanza we will understand what each stanza says and what views does the poet have in each stanza, and how does he wants to convey his views to the readers among you and I. Okay, so let's start explaining each stanza from the poem. So at first I will read the first stanza and explain it. Stanza 1. Okay, so I will read the title of the poem, No Men Are Foreign by James Kirkup. Stanza 1 reads like this. Remember, no men are strange, no country is foreign. Beneath all uniforms, a single body breathes. Like ours, the land our brothers walk upon is earth like this, in which we all shall lie. So in the first line of the first stanza, the poet says that no men are strange and no country is foreign. So here the poet is attempting to remove the borders from the earth which have been erected to separate different countries. Then only no country is foreign. We will feel every country as our own land. When there will be no borders, everyone will be free to move around. The poet wants to say that the entire earth is one, and all the people who live on this earth belong to one human race. Then he says that inside the uniforms worn by soldiers of different countries, the human being is the same. God has made all of us in a similar way. We all breathe in the same way. Then the poet says that all the soldiers are our brothers. We all walk upon the same Mother Earth, and upon our death we shall lie in the grave in the same earth. So this is the explanation of the first stanza. I hope you have understood. Now let us see the second stanza, and the second stanza reads like this. They too, aware of sun and air and water, are fed by peaceful harvests, by wars long winter starved. Their hands are ours, and in their lines we read, a labor not different from our own. In this second stanza, the word they refers to those people who belong to other countries. We call them foreigners and discriminate them and fight with them also. The poet says that nature has given all the bounties to all people, also just like He has given to us. Everyone gets sunlight, air and water in equal measure, which means that God does not differentiate between people from different countries. We all do farming during the time of peace, when there is no war. We live a relaxed life and eat the things given to us by nature. Further, the poet adds that the way we starve when we face the shortage of food during wars and during winter times is the same for those belonging to other countries, even they don't get food at that time. So the poet wants to say that foreigners who belong to another country and we both are same. And then the poet says that even their hands are same as ours. They work very hard just like we do. Here the poet is giving all these examples to the readers, to us, to convey us that there is no difference in us and the people belonging to another country. Okay, so this was the explanation of the second stanza. Now we will read the third stanza and we will explain it. So the third stanza reads like this. Remember, they have eyes like ours that wake or sleep, and strength that can be won by love. In every land is common life that all can recognize and understand. In this third stanza, the poet asks the readers to remember something. So what does the poet ask? What does the poet ask us to remember? The poet says that we should keep in mind that the people of another country, whom we think to be our enemies, have been bestowed by God, have been given by God with similar appearance like us. God has given them eyes like ours, which open when awake and close when we are asleep. Similarly, God has given them strength, which we can win through love. Then the poet says that in every country, in every land, there is one common thing, that is life. Life means all the living things that are living. All the things that are living. And if we can recognize them, and if we can understand their feelings and realize that they are like us, then there will be no fights or wars between us. So this was what the second stanza says. Okay. The poem consists of 5 stanzas. Now we have come to the 4th stanza. We will now read the 4th stanza and we will understand what does this stanza say. Okay, and the 4th stanza reads like this. Let us remember when we are told to hate our brothers, it is ourselves that we shall dispose, betray, condemn. Remember, we who take arms against each other. In this 4th stanza, the poet says that we should remember that whenever someone tells us to hate a person from another country, we have to think him as our enemy. And whenever we think someone to be our enemy, then we deprive ourselves, we betray ourselves, we cheat ourselves, and we condemn ourselves. The poet says that we should stay away from that negativity. We should not consider anyone to be our enemy. During a war, both the parties must bear the loss. And that is why the poet says that whenever we pick any weapon against someone, we should remember all these things. That no men are foreign and no countries are strange. Okay. So, this is what the 4th stanza says. Okay, now we have come to the last stanza, that is the fifth stanza of the poem, and the fifth stanza reads like this. It is the human earth that we defile. Our hells of fire and dust outrage the innocence of air that is everywhere our own. Remember, no men are foreign and no countries strange. So we have to keep focus here, that what line we read in the beginning of the poem and what line we are reading at the end of the poem. So we have the same opening line and the same ending line. Okay, the poet has started writing his poem with the same line and he has ended the poem with the same line. So with these, he just want to put focus, put stress on this line. Remember, no men are foreign and no countries strange. So with these introductory line and the ending line, the poet suggests us that he wants to convey the concept of universal brotherhood, that we all are same to us, to the readers, to his readers. Okay, now we will explain what this fifth stanza tells us. Okay, what message does this stanza carry for the readers? Okay, what views does the poet have in this stanza? So in this stanza, in this fifth stanza, the poet says that we should keep in mind that whenever we pick weapons against any person, we make the earth dirty, because weapons kill people and their bodies which fall on the earth make it dirty. Whenever war happens, it leads to a lot of bloodshed, fire and death. These dead bodies accumulate on the earth and make it impure. The fire of war which erupts, the smoke which comes out, the dust which fills the air, it is so dirty that it pollutes and outrages the purity of the air. With all these things, the poet wants to give us a message that we should not indulge in war. Finally, he ends the poem by writing the first line in the reverse and saying that, remember, no men are foreign and no countries strange. So I hope, my dear students, you all have understood what the poet says, what the poem No Men Are Foreign tells us about. Okay, but still, if you have confusion, if you have doubts regarding the explanation of the poem, kindly raise your doubt during the class hour. Okay, I am always there to help you out. Okay, so in our class period, we will also understand that what literary devices the poet has used in this poem. If you read the poem, if you try to find out the rhyming skill of the poem, you will not find the rhyming skill, because if you I have already told you the way to find out the rhyming skill of the poem, you will not find here. Okay, because the word in each line that ends in each line of each stanza that are different, that have no that have no common rhyming sound. So here we have no rhyming scheme in this poem. So other literary devices that are used in this poem we will discuss in the class period. Okay, and we will try to find out stanza wise which literary devices are there used by the poet in the class itself. So this much for today's class. I hope you have understood the explanation of the poem. If still you have any doubt regarding the explanation, kindly ask me, raise your questions in the class period and clarify your doubts. Okay, students. Thank you so much for attending today's class. Thank you so much.